Hi! Within this lecture, we're going to see how we can retrieve the information from the target computer so that we can know how hackers steal usernames and passwords from the target computers when they run a man-in-the-middle attack. Now, I am man-in-the-middle, right? I have the same MAC address on my Kali Linux and my gateway in my Windows virtual machine. Now it means that I get to get these packets from this computer before sending them to the router, or getting from the router and before sending them to this virtual machine. And in order to actually see these packets, we have to have a sniffer module running on our BetterCap. And of course we have this module, right? So if you come over here, we are looking for net.snif. So as usual, I'm going to run help net.snif. So you see a lot of parameters and a lot of commands inside of net.snif. And the only thing that we are interested in is here that net.snif on, actually, because we're not going to change any other parameters. But as you can see, this net.snif on, this will start the network sniffer in background. And if we say net.snif off, it will just stop it. So you can see the parameter descriptions over here, but they are very good by default. So I'm going to leave this as it is. And all I'm going to do is just write net.snif on. So this is standard syntax in BetterCap. So maybe you remember the previous lecture when we have written net.prob on, arp.spoof on. So this is the same thing, net.snif on. And if we run help, you can see that net.snif is actually running at this moment. Now let's go back to our Windows machine and just run a browser over here. And you can try this with Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge as well. So this comes with Microsoft Edge. So it's kind of convenient to use Microsoft Edge for test purposes, but of course you can just download Google Chrome or any other browser to test this with. So man-in-the-middle attacks do not perform or do not behave in the same way with different browsers. So it may be a good idea to test this on different browsers so that you can decide to go with BetterCap or man-in-the-middle framework depending on their performance on different browsers. So I'm going to go over my unicornitems.com one more time. So this is unicornitems.com, and this website belongs to me, and it's kind of an e-commerce website, but I really keep it for test purposes. It has HTTP built in inside, so it doesn't have HTTPS. Later on we're going to see what kind of websites can we use in order to test HTTPS as well. For example, right now you can just go google.com and it obviously uses HTTPS, and you can see these HTTPS secure sign in front of this website. Okay, so it's kind of easy to get data from HTTP, and we're gonna start with HTTP. As you can see, we get this data in net.snif module over here, right? We have all of these packets coming onto our terminal. And in fact, we can see the HTTPS websites as well. So the target is browsing msn.com, target is browsing google.com, and everything. So MSN comes from this default page, and Google, yep, we actually entered into Google and we went into unicornitems.com. We can see every log coming on our terminal. What we cannot see in HTTPS is the details of these packets, like usernames and passwords, and we're gonna deep dive into that later on in this course. So over here we see this coming and going, but what we want to do is to find out how we can get the usernames and passwords, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and close this down and continue with this unicorn items, and I'm going to click on this My Account tab so that we can have this login page. So in the username and password section, I'm gonna go for test for username, and for password you can just make something up like 123456 123456 and hit login. So it will send the request, but it won't be successful obviously because we don't have that kind of account in Unicorn Items. But if you come over here to your terminal, then you can search for this username and password, and we're gonna get those over here. Like in this packet we see the unicornitems.com, and over here we see unicornitems.com login page, my account page, okay? But I believe we cannot see the username and password yet. So let me scroll up a little bit, and if you cannot find it, and in this case I'm right now seeing it on screen, let's pretend that I didn't see it and scrolled up a little bit more. If you cannot find it, of course you can search for it using your terminal find. If you come over here and search for a password, for example, and hit enter, you can just search it multiple times, and here you go. Now you see the test as username, and 123456 and 123456 as password. Now we managed to hack the target user, right? Now we know his username, we know his password, so we can log into his account on unicornitems.com. So it's kind of cool, right? We managed to get this information from the target computer. Of course, we did it in HTTP website, and it's kind of easy to get that on HTTP websites, but it's a little bit harder to get that on HTTPS. And remember to use search and everything in your terminal, okay, and try to focus on what's important or what's not. As you can see, we get a lot of logs over here thanks to the sniffing strength of this BetterCap tool. But it's important to search for usernames and passwords if you want to get your information directly. And again, we're gonna focus on getting this data on HTTPS websites as well, and we're gonna do that in the next lecture.